It's so interesting just thinking about where we are with technology, and supposedly all our technology would lead to more information, but it's really led to more confusion. There is more information, but much less specific information. I mean, we almost it's an old John Lennon quote, which I'm sure comes from somewhere further back, but the more I know, the less I know for sure.
Well, it definitely has an analog in the psychology of an individual person. I've
Hmm.
been reading a lot of Jung lately, and the most tumultuous time of a individual's. I just finished Psychology of the Unconscious,
Oh yeah.
which has been, I think, renamed uh, Symbols of Transformation or Transformation of the Libido. I can't remember. But anyway, it's about the will to live is the libido. Not the Freudian sense, the more sexual sense, but the will to life, the the primal survival instinct, whether it's sexual, food, those things are a river,
Hmm.
an energy within each person. And there's a transition period from childhood when you're dependent on others to adulthood. And so if the complexes are going to arise, if the complexes are going to come out, it's because something trapped or created a knot in that energy stream between the stage of adolescence and adulthood. And that's when the complexes
Hmm.
come out. Not necessarily in the Freudian sense. I mean, just in general, if there are
Right.
any sort of deeper psychosis or paranoia or anything that prevents the person from accessing their full will to
But
live or their
that.
full libido. It's sort of the same thing in that we're in a transition period, and that's where the problems are created. And then you have to come
Hmm.
out. You come out on the other end either more damaged by it or somehow stronger. And in the
Right.
same way,
It's
we're
good.
in this period of the internet being all of these this negativity and the filter bubbles and the rabbit holes that we go down. Are we going to come out fragmented at the end, or are we going to come out eventually with not a consensus but some sort of higher consciousness that's a little bit that's better than where we were before? We're more empowered by the data, but we somehow have a cultural curation process that allows us to not destroy each other. Does that make sense?
It does. Um, it's interesting to think of. I guess I don't want to. It's You're kind of. I don't want to go back to the specifics of politics, but I guess I'm just thinking like so we can sit back here and wait to see these processes unfold, but being a part of them, you have to kind of be active, right? Or is it a moral imperative to be active, or do you sit back and wait until they unravel and then just pick up when things make sense again? Because there's things happening every day that we could have individual personal problems with, and maybe take action to affect how they will end up unraveling.
Well, I yeah, I mean I think action is relevant. I mean, I mentioned the
But we're sitting here talking about not voting, right?
right, which is an action. It's
That's true. Yeah,
not
yeah.
pulling the if you're it's the trolley problem, right? If you decide not
Hmm.
to pull the lever to divert the train and the train kills one person, your non-action is an action to kill the one person, right? Um, the trolley going
Maybe.
down the tracks, you pull the lever
As
and
Jordan
save.
Peterson put it could be a lot more bloody complex.
Sure.
Whenever you added all those ridiculous additions to it.
Um, well, I know that the person who posted those things that I don't agree with will block me, but I still comment because I want to provide a check to that behavior that I think is unproductive, to let
Hmm.
people know that if you just post something, you either have to engage with me and have a conversation and tell me why you think what you think, or you have to block me. And I hope you have a
Yeah.
conversation. But that action, I know what's going to happen, but it's in my way a way to take an action to not just let things slide. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it does. It is helpful to be true to whatever you believe is actually the truthful, rightful thing to do. Like voting for Jill Stein, people would say, "Well, that's just a protest vote. That's worthless." But a lot of people did that, and a lot of people didn't vote for who they were told that they had to vote for. And now the situation we're in is potentially brighter than it would have been. I mean, how nice is it now that we have a chance for Bernie to beat Donald Trump rather than being stuck with Hillary and
Right.
having another 8 years of Hillary or a Republican? You know what I mean?
Right.
So we actually have a chance of truth now because enough people, not necessarily because of people like that, but I think if you do whatever you think is right at every step of the way, there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah. I
But then
agree.
you have to be forced. You're still stuck in the problem of trying to untangle truth in a very complicated and tricky
Right.
situation.
So the divining of truth from fiction is the thing that got harder with all
Yes,
of the with filter
this
bubbles
technology.
and
Yeah,
technology. That's the thing that made it harder. But what you said, I think is exactly right. Take one genuine step at a time.
yeah,
If you take the step and that's a step true to yourself and it feels true to yourself, even if in hindsight it's stupid, in hindsight, it might be stupid, but you took a genuine step, a self-reflective step, and that's the only thing that you can do. And the information problem might sort itself out over time. I think it will. I think there will
yeah.
eventually there will be infrastructure in place to. There is infrastructure in place to check fake news.
There is, but you have to like who watches the watchers type of situation, right? Because a lot of these, like say PolitiFact or all these like political fact things, they're almost 90% fake. They're all driven by
Some things I
ideology.
think work, like YouTube. They
YouTube, yes,
hold on a
because
second.
that's still. I'm
Hold
sorry.
on.
Sorry.
You're being conspiratorial there for a second. I'm just saying they did a thing that I think is good. If there is a video from an organization, all they do is say under it, this organization is partly sponsored by this government, or this channel is partly blah 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 by this company. That's all. It's just information, and you can do with that what you will, but it's just transparency. So all it is a creation of transparency. I realize YouTube has their own agenda. I realize
No,
they
I wasn't saying YouTube was bad. I was saying YouTube is good because it's just individuals.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
judged what you were going to say. I thought
Well, I also was jumping in, so
why? I thought you were
even.
going to get that.
We're
You've
even.
been saying. Yeah.
No, I was saying, but at YouTube, there's a fact checking of individuals, and that's what's nice about it.
Yes.
You could like, I don't know if any of them are all right. I watch a lot of different people and try to pay attention, but I watch people on the right and more on the left than the right, and just kind of take what I want from both.
Right.
I guess it's all you can do.
Well, there was that example of. Cenk Uygur being taken out of context with his conversation with David Duke, and Kyle Kalinske rallied everybody on Twitter and made the New York Times post a retraction. So that's a thing. I mean, it's not going to solve any problems right away, but it is a thing. It's not bad.
Yeah. I think people are starting to turn against the whole woke brigade, especially because a lot of it's coming to roost in their entertainment, and that really bothers people.